Okay, let's be real for a second. The one thing everyone is talking about right now is AI, right? Is it going to usher in some incredible new golden age, or is it a massive threat to all of our jobs? I mean, it's pretty much the biggest question hanging over everything right now. Our economy, our careers, you name it.
So let's just cut to the chase. The big question, is AI coming for your job? It seems like a simple question, but it basically splits the entire world into two very different camps. And today, we're going to put their arguments head to head and see who comes out on top.
So, in one corner, you've got the optimists. For them, AI is just the next chapter in a super long story of human progress. It's a tool, one that's ultimately going to make all of us better off. But then in the other corner, you have the pessimists. And they're saying, whoa, hold on, this time is different. They argue that AI isn't just another hammer or computer, it's a replacement for the human mind itself. That's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. Think of it like a 5-round debate. First up, does history repeat itself? Then we'll have a big showdown over the latest jobs data. After that, we'll get into what humanity's new role might even look like. Then we tackle a really critical question. Who's actually in control of the code? And finally, we'll get to the big one. Who owns the future?
All right, kicking things off, we have the optimists' opening argument. And it's pretty simple, really. They're basically saying, guys, relax. We've been here before. I mean, think about it. Every single time a massive new technology shows up, what happens? People panic about jobs. And the optimists point out that every single time so far, that panic has been wrong.
And you can really see their point when you look at the pattern here. Take the ATM. When it first came out in the 70s, everyone was like, well, that's it for bank tellers. But what actually happened? It was kind of the opposite. The ATMs made it cheaper to open a bank branch, so banks opened more of them. And guess what? The total number of teller jobs actually went up. Same thing with the internet in the 90s. It didn't kill jobs, it created entire industries we couldn't have even dreamed of before. So the optimist argument is super clear. AI is just the next step. It's going to create jobs we can't even fathom right now.
And if you need a number to back that up, here it is. This is wild. A staggering 85% of all job growth over the last 80 years came from job categories that didn't even exist before the technology that created them. Just think about that. Jobs like app developer or social media manager. I mean, that would have sounded like something out of a sci-fi movie a few decades ago. For the optimists, this isn't some weird fluke. It's the engine of our economy working exactly as it should.
But, of course, the pessimist is over there just shaking their head. They're saying looking backwards is a huge mistake. Why? Because AI isn't just another tool. It's automating thinking, cognitive work. The very thing that was supposed to be the safe haven for white-collar jobs. And they say if you look at the data right now, it tells a much, much darker story.
Okay, so the optimist throws this out there. They say, look, software engineering jobs, the ones everyone said would be the first to go, the postings are basically flat. They haven't crashed. And, on the surface, that seems like a pretty solid point. It suggests AI is just a helper, right? A co-pilot, not a replacement.
But the pessimist comes right back with this, and it's a gut punch. Sure, senior-level jobs are holding steady, but look at the numbers for young software developers. Employment for them has tanked by almost 20% since these AI tools went mainstream. That's the entry ramp to a career just disappearing. So for the next generation, AI isn't a co-pilot, it's a brick wall they can't get past.
And when you zoom out, the picture gets even worse. Job cuts are up a mind-blowing 80% year over year. Now, here's the kicker. Officially, companies are blaming a tiny, tiny fraction of that on AI. But talk to anyone on the inside and they'll tell you the quiet part out loud. AI is a huge factor in hundreds of thousands of those layoffs. They just don't put AI in the press release. Nope, they call it restructuring.
I mean, it doesn't get much more blunt than this. This isn't some analyst's prediction or a forecast. This is a direct order to managers at JP Morgan, one of the biggest banks on the planet. Stop hiring. AI is covering the gap. They are literally actively telling their people to use AI instead of hiring humans. So for the pessimist, this isn't some future problem. The replacement is happening right now.
Okay, so this brings us to the next big part of the debate. The conversation starts to shift from if jobs will be lost to how the jobs that remain are going to change. Because this is the one thing both the optimists and the pessimists agree on. Work itself is transforming, big time. The real question becomes, what's actually left for us humans to do?
And this really lays out the two paths, kind of like a fork in the road for the future of work. On one side, you have the dream scenario, the super job effect. That's where AI becomes our co-pilot, right? It handles all the boring, routine stuff, and it frees us up to focus on what humans do best: judgment, creativity, strategy. But then there's the other path, the great skills gap. We're looking at maybe 170 million new jobs being created, but here's the problem. Only about 13% of workers have gotten any AI training at all. That's a huge disconnect.
And this is where that disconnect gets really stark. We're not just talking about having a job versus not having a job anymore. We're talking about a massive wage gap. According to a new report, workers who actually have AI skills are already earning a 56% pay premium. 56%. So this isn't just a skills gap. It's a wealth gap that's being created right before our eyes.
So the debate takes another turn here. We move from the economic questions to the ethical ones. Because when you have a technology this powerful, the conversation has to change. It's less about what can this thing do, and more about what should it be allowed to do. And maybe the most important question of all, who gets to make that call?
And what's so fascinating is how history seems to be rhyming right now. Look at this comparison. On the left, you've got J. Robert Oppenheimer, right? The father of the atomic bomb. He drew a moral line in the sand. He refused to help build the even more powerful H-bomb. And what happened? The government basically destroyed his career, calling him a man with a defective character. Now, look at the right. That's Dario Amodei, the CEO of the AI company Anthropic. He tried to draw a similar moral line on how his AI could be used, and the government labeled him a national security risk. It's eerie. And what were these big, controversial red lines that Anthropic drew? Just two things. That's it. Number one, no fully autonomous weapons. They said AI should not be making kill decisions on its own without a human in the loop. And number two, no mass domestic surveillance. AI shouldn't be used to spy on all American citizens. Their whole argument was pretty simple. The technology just isn't reliable enough for that kind of life or death responsibility. And for taking that stand, for saying our AI shouldn't kill people or spy on our own citizens, the government hit them with this National Security Supply Chain Risk designation. Now, you have to understand, this has never happened to an American company before. This is a label they slap on foreign adversaries, like Huawei. The message being sent was impossible to miss. It was basically the government saying, if you build something this powerful, we decide how it gets used, not you. This is the real battle for control.
And that brings us to our final round, where everything kind of comes together. Because when you've got a technology that could potentially do all the work, and you have this huge fight over who gets to control it, you land on the biggest question of all. What kind of future are we actually building here? Utopia or dystopia?
And you can't talk about the future without talking about Elon Musk's vision, which is maybe the most radical one out there. He's not talking about a future with new types of jobs. He's talking about a future where the whole idea of a job is just gone, obsolete. A world where work is something you choose to do for fun, like a hobby.
He calls it a post-scarcity world. The idea is simple. AI does all the cognitive stuff, all the thinking. Humanoid robots do all the physical labor. And humanity? We're just freed from the need to work at all. Instead of a paycheck, everybody gets what he calls a universal high income, because the machines are creating so much wealth in abundance that there's more than enough for everyone. I mean, it sounds like an absolute utopia, right?
And this is a huge but. Here's the massive problem with that beautiful vision. If you look at what's happening right now, it's the complete opposite. All this incredible wealth being generated by the AI boom, it's not being spread around. It is concentrating at the very, very top, faster than pretty much any other time in history. So the economic pie is definitely getting bigger, but only a tiny handful of people are getting a bigger slice.
And that right there is what this whole debate really boils down to. A world where work is optional? That sounds like a utopia, but only if everyone shares in the benefits of all that automation. If, on the other hand, a few people own all the robots and all the AI, and the rest of us are left with nothing, well, that's a straight-up dystopia. So the final question, the most important one, isn't really about technology at all. It's about power. A world of optional work is probably coming, one way or another. The real question is, who's going to own the robots?